It has been more than a decade since China's J-20 made its maiden flight in January 2011. According to the U.S. Media Defense Observatory, it was time for China to install the J-20 into the Air Force. It has already begun the transformation of the sixth-generation aircraft from the prophecy system to the formal development, and the Chinese sixth-generation aircraft is even faster than the United States, or named the J-30 Rocket 4. They expect China's sixth-generation aircraft to be deployed between 2025 and 2030. If so, China may be the first country in the world to deploy a sixth-generation aircraft before the US. So what does China's sixth-generation aircraft look like? Will China be the first to deploy a sixth-generation aircraft before the United States? Today we are going to explore China's first sixth-generation aircraft, according to U.S. Air Force expert Peter Sucho. It was pointed out in the evaluation of the Chinese sixth-generation aircraft that it would take 8 years for the American sixth-generation aircraft to be put into real combat. He thinks the J-20 is just a demonstration of Chinese aviation technology. China's development of the current sixth-generation aircraft has entered a stage of rapid development, and the final setframe may be as surprising as the J-21. China is said to have 3 predicted solutions for the sixth-generation aircraft. One is the so-called China Blackbird, which has a similar aerodynamic layout to the US 13271 Blackbird reconnaissance aircraft, using a tailless layout. The Chinese Blackbird will focus more on the superb factor and high wild performance as it pursues the long-range projection. In the future, there is the possibility of an all-in-one model, or what we might call an enhanced +2 model. He retained the +20 pent-down slat layout as he did away with the vertical tail and again required vector engines to provide maneuvering. This layout is definitely more stealthily capable than the J-20 because it's a big revamp of the J-20, so it seems easier to achieve some of the J-20's altitude of 18.000 meters than the first one. The combat radius is 2,000 kilometers and the top speed is Mach 2 to meet the standard of Mach 5 and greater range of the sixth-generation aircraft. The enhanced +2 is definitely not a minor modification, it has to be a radical transformation. China's third sixth-generation aircraft is the G-50, and this fighter has been tentatively named the Fire Dragon fighter, and it has a much stronger aerodynamic structure. The new control system and multifunction strike capability, but the Fire Dragon multifunction fighter has one drawback. It's just that it needs to be stealthy, but it's got the same level of mobility, radar, and control as a sixth-generation aircraft, and maybe you can't have both. In fact, the high skill factor and the high derivative are contradictory in many cases. If the Chinese have one of the sharpest hairs, it seems that they can use other systems to accomplish the function of the shield. After all, there are a lot of situations where offense is the best defense, and you know it in the traditional airplane engine business. That has been China's weakness and a major reason for the delay in the delivery of the C919, the domestic passenger aircraft. But in the new concept of blast array engines, the Chinese are in a commanding position where the traditional engines are continuously burning in the combustion chamber to generate thrust, while the blast array engines are continuously burning in the combustion chamber to generate detonation waves. It's called explosive power. The most advanced turbofan engines today have a thrust-to-weight ratio of about 12. 35 has a thrust-to-weight ratio of 11. 47. The thrust ratio of turbofan 15 of 20 is 11. And the thrust ratio of blast array engine can reach the initial stage of technology 20 days later. It can be further improved. And the maximum flight speed of fighter jets equipped with traditional turbofan engine is Mach 3 to 5. A fighter with a shock engine can easily exceed Mach 5 plus the combustion efficiency of a shock engine. It's also more than 50% higher than the average turbofan engine, and shock engines seem to be the future, however, because the technology is not mature. It is likely to be used in UAV missiles and unmanned rockets in the middle and later stages of the sixth-generation aircraft. To enter the Six Belt Club fighter aircraft must have a hypersonic factor of close to 5 yards or so in long range, high AI control, and high stealth characteristics. If the fifth-generation aircraft is based on the information system, then the sixth-generation aircraft is based on the Internet of Things technology to realize the integration of land, sea, air, sky, and power grid in a real sense, and the interconnection or operation between them. In the history of fighter jets, the difference between the third-generation aircraft and the fourth-generation aircraft is not very big. But the difference between the fourth generation and the fifth generation is very obvious. Because of the supermarket distance of the fifth generation and the super stealth performance, the fourth generation has almost no chance to win in front of the fifth generation and the development of the sixth generation. It's more of a high AI, high IoT system, and in many cases, the Cruise 6 is just a utility that acts as a command and coordination system. More combat missions require a wide range of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, as well as missile and surface ship systems. This will require more dexterity in the strategic and tactical aspects of warfare, in which the Chinese are undoubtedly the teachers of the Americans. In addition to the cooperative combat technology of man-machine and UAV, the sixth generation aircraft will also use UAV, wind swarm technology, artificial intelligence technology, laser technology, microwave technology, adaptive engine technology, high steering technology, and so on. Fortunately, China has not lagged behind the United States in many areas of the sixth-generation aircraft and has even surpassed the United States. The sixth-generation aircraft of China may be capable of landing a microwave weapon, also known as a projectile weapon or electromagnetic pulse weapon, which is a weapon that uses high-energy electromagnetic radiation to attack and damage the target. The working motivation of the microwave weapon is based on the irradiation of the microwave language. The molecular interactions between the magnets convert electromagnetic energy into heat energy, which at once sets many molecules in the irradiated material in motion without even requiring a specific heat transfer process. Microwave weapons can be used to attack satellites, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, aircraft, ships and tanks, communication systems, and radar computer equipment. Especially the nodes and positions of important information stations such as command communication hubs and combat liaison networks cause physical damage to the target and loss of operational effectiveness. The extent of damage is beyond repair. Microwave grain device compared to laser particle number weapon. Its wave number is much wider and its range is much less affected by the weather, and it only needs a general attack position. It is not necessary to accurately aim and track the target as the laser particle number weapon, which will make the countermeasures of the enemy more difficult and complicated. However, the current airborne microwave weapons will be more used for anti-counterfeiting due to the small size and low power. However, airborne microwave missiles may completely change the situation in the laser weapons. The U.S. airborne laser technology will be successfully utilized in May 2021 in the 16th record competition. The laser weapon destroyed the incoming missile at the White Sands Laboratory in New Mexico. But the laser weapon in the United States has been faced with the problem of storing energy in a small size. But in terms of laser technology, China is way ahead of the United States in terms of laser technology. We also had a previous video on laser weapons. China's sixth-generation aircraft is projected. It will also carry a powerful laser device which will replace close-range air-to-air missiles and cannon systems, and the laser weapon will reach a speed of 300,000 kilometers per second, which is unmatched by any weapon in the world. But because of the emphasis on speed and stealth of the Sixer, this makes it impossible to carry heavy laser weapons to attack distant targets. The Chinese Opportunity 6 is about to be equipped with hypersonic factor cruise missiles, but it's nothing like the Dongfeng we're used to. It's smaller and you can customize the target after launch because it's too fast for current containment systems to intercept it effectively. So what kind of engine will be used for China's first sixth-generation aircraft? China is reportedly working on a self-sighted strain cycle aircraft engine. This engine can effectively realize the aircraft's high maneuverability, increase the range, and become more environmentally friendly and fuel efficient according to the relevant planning of the United States. America's sixth-generation Opportunity is based on an initial combat capability to be formed by 2030 by Lockheed Martin. The sixth-generation aircraft developed was faster than Mach 5 with a multispectral stealth system and sensor fusion, and Boeing also designed the sixth-generation computer with an all-in-one fusion architecture. The stealth bomber is much cooler from flying the dirty lanes than a conventional fighter plane, but with the tail part removed from the vertical tail and edge. It is understood that the aircraft is envisaged if subfactor cruising is used. The flight time will be up to 50 hours and the combat radius will be an unprecedented tens of thousands of kilometers. But how does that sound like bragging that the 6th generation jet in the US will cost $500 million per unit? And the 7th generation of air bombers that are expected to be ready for interview in 2030 will cost $800 million. How does that sound like the Marshall Plan, from the development of the 6th generation aircraft in China and the United States? The 6th generation aircraft will have a qualitative leap over the 5th generation aircraft and can easily kill the 5th generation aircraft. So, do you think China will be able to fly the first 6th generation aircraft before the United States in 2025 or so? What more advanced technologies should China equip its 6th generation aircraft with? We welcome you to join us in the comments section. Thank you for your likes and attention.